this point, I may need to borrow this lid just to get that pot to come up to a boil because it just doesn't want to boil. So all I'm going to do at this point is dicing my potatoes. What happened to that good knife I was just happy with?
Right over here.
You took it away from me.
I lost it.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. You can use, okay, two types of potatoes you can use in a potato salad. You can do a starchy one or you can do a waxy one. This one is starchy. This is a plain old russet potato. If you want to use a new potato, that's fine. If you want to use the Yukon Golds, that's fine. They're delicious. It's what you prefer. So the russets tend to, well, it's an old-fashioned potato. And I think it tends to absorb the dressing a little better. I could be making that up. It could be my imagination. So there, you can take that for what it's worth. I did not peel them. You can peel them if you want to. I happen to like the way it tastes. And I like keeping the vitamins and the nutrients and the fiber that are in the skin. But if I were doing this for a party, if I were doing anything, you know, where I might be serving it to, I don't know, let's say, oh, like a ladies' luncheon, okay, or a baby shower, I'd probably go ahead and peel it. A little more refined. But, you know me, most of the time I'm going to go calling everything I make rustic, which is another way of saying, you're not fancy. You're not going to fiddle around with your food too much. Now the reason I'm dicing them, and you don't have to dice the potatoes, but A, they will cook much more quickly, and I don't have to worry about cutting up hot potatoes. So they'll be ready to go right into the dressing as soon as they're cooked through. Plus, they will all cook at about the same rate, simply because all these pieces are the same size. So it's a little easier. The other thing, there we go, we finally have boiling water. Other thing is, when you're doing your potatoes, heavily salt the water you're going to cook them in. Because if you don't, doesn't matter how much salt you add to it later, it's not going to taste like a whole lot. And there isn't too much more, I think bland should be defined by a potato that doesn't have any salt on it. That is what bland is. I mean, that's just bad. And I think a lot of the mistakes people make with potato salad is not seasoning heavily enough. And now when I say seasoning, it doesn't have to be just salt. We're going to do a few of these over there. Half an onion. Now often if we're at home, we like onion a lot. I might use a whole onion, especially if it's small, but these were pretty big ones. So that goes in our bowl. And let me grab hard-boiled eggs. And if you are not sure about hard-boiled eggs, I actually have a video on how to boil them correctly so that what you end up with is that beautiful creamy yolk. It's nice and tender, and the whites are tender, but you don't have the green ring of death that tastes like sulfur around the outside, which I do that all the time anyway. I still do it. I almost did it with these because I walked off and forgot what I was doing. I started playing with my dog in the backyard. Anyway, we'll put a link up to the video on how to do hard-boiled eggs, because there are a couple tricks to it. It's really simple. It's really simple, if you know what the tricks are. So I just have a couple of hard-boiled eggs, and it's just a very rough chop. I'm not worried about much of anything. The yolk from the hard-boiled eggs will pretty much dissolve in your potato salad and disappear. It becomes part of the dressing. And we also want paper towels. I realize I'd feel better if I had those right over here where I grab them when I need to. Which is right now. Because I am going to show you a trick or two. Alright, mayonnaise. Of course, we need mayonnaise. And I need a clean spoon. And I don't have one. Yeah, I do. I found one.
Okay.
Alright, so that is not quite half a cup. We need a little more than that. Thank you. Thank you. I like this. I'm not having to clean up anything. Making all the messes. Oh, I can make a mess. That's a great deal. I just make the messes. Somebody else can clean them up. I like that deal. Well, look what I did. It's a good thing you brought me a spoon because I stuck that spoon in there. You don't want to take it from here and put eggs back in your mayonnaise. That would not be nice. All right, so I would say I have about 3/4 of a cup altogether of mayonnaise. And we're going to park this over here. We're going to think about it in a minute. So we might add some more. Now, to this, we also want a good bit of black pepper. So I'm going to tell you to put in a teaspoon. And, thank you. Don't stab me. Please. This opens somehow. Just a little bit of garlic powder. Not too much. Half a teaspoon. Here is one of the tricks. Now you can use pickle relish if you want to. I happen not to be a big fan of sweet pickle relish, especially if it's canned. Now if it's homemade, bring it on. You can come bring me all you want to. I don't have homemade. Are you gonna pull out pickle relish? I just said I wasn't a big fan.
Well,
Can you open that? All right, let me see. Man, I can't open anything.
don't think that's ever been opened either then.
I would say put this back in the refrigerator.
Okay.
Okay. That it's just it.
Hold on.
There's something about it.
We've got a device now. I don't know if many of you people have this at home, but here's one of these things that no matter what size top you got, it'll fit. Let's see, it'll fit. There you go. Wait a minute.
Or I could just make one of the boys come do it. That's what my teenagers are for. That's when I can start yelling, Chase, Ricky. Okay. Much better. This is a much better flavor and texture than this, okay? This, I didn't taste it, but I had pickle relish in the past. Not crazy about it. The texture is unpleasant. And there's that metallic thing that happens. Also unpleasant. I would simply rather use fresh pickles. There's no such thing. I'd rather use real pickles. And then you just run your knife through them. Use a rough chop. You can make them as big or little as you want. I like, when I do bite-sized stuff, I cook a lot for children, and I have cooked a lot for invalids. So bite-size tends to do better if it's a smaller bite. So I do tend to cut things smaller than a lot of people do. But what happens is when you take a bite, you have a more even distribution of all your ingredients for your forkful, which I think is nice. Okay, did I salt this? I did not salt it, right? Okay, that's all right because we're gonna do that last. We had salted cooking water for our potatoes. And this is fun, I wanna show you something. Now that they've dried, can you see the little bit of salt crystals on the potato itself? You can actually do oh my gosh, you can do the best roasted potato doing it that way. We need to do that in our next video, okay? They taste good. Almost impossible to do if you don't salt the water. Now they taste good, they're not seasoned enough. However, the pickles are salty. So we're gonna be a little judicious with this as we stir it together. Oh my gosh, I love potatoes. So we stir this together, and I drained these a few minutes ago. They did get nice and dry, but they're still very warm, which will help them absorb the dressing a little bit better. Now, this, to my eye, is a touch dry. I want a little more liquid. I want something a little more wet. Simply because it's going to sit out there in the fridge this afternoon and it's going to get nice and cold. It's going to absorb all that dressing and we don't want it too dry. So we're going to take our pickle juice We're gonna give it 2 tablespoons. Talk about waking up some flavor. And the potatoes will absorb that. This is also why we don't salt or season again, because the pickle juice is very salty. Listen, pickle juice is some pretty miraculous stuff. If you haven't cooked with it, you need to. It's great in salads, macaroni salad or potato salad, but you know you can also make a pretty rock star brine for chicken with just pickle juice. So when you eat all your pickles, save that juice and do something else with it. Okay, so we don't experiment on our family too much. We do sometimes. Man, that's gonna be good. Okay, it does need some more salt, and I think it needs some more pepper. So we're gonna give it a couple teaspoons of salt. We're gonna give it a good hit of black pepper. And we're gonna stick it in the refrigerator. We're gonna let it chill, but before we serve it, we're gonna stir it one more time. And we're gonna taste it and make sure that our seasonings are still correct after it's chilled. Because cold food tends to taste less seasoned than hot food. Hello. I didn't know you were over there. Hi.
Potato salad?
Potato salad. And this is just a super basic country potato salad. Alrighty, we got him going. We got our beans going. We've got, what all have we made? We've got slaw in the refrigerator. We have our chicken is on the brine. We have our country style baked beans in the fridge ready to go in the oven. We have our next set of baked beans